Mr. Lordi?
Yeah, sorry, the previous one was taking a little bit too long because the one before that was taking a little bit too long, so sorry.
That's quite all right. This is the Scream Queen with Damnation Vault. How are you today?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. It is snowing like crazy in Fargo, North Dakota. It's the perfect day to interview a Finnish monster like yourself.
It sounds like the same kind of situation what I'm having right here in the Arctic Circle in Finland. It's snowing and it's very nice and wintry, cozy. Yay.
Yeah, it's like that right now, although I think the entire town is about to shut down.
Oh, right. So it's one of those parts in the U.S. where you are not really, prepared for snow, right?
Well, we are. It's North Dakota. We are. However, it snows so much sometimes that it just there's nothing that anything can do, really.
Right. Like I always find it funny because I have relatives in Oregon. Like my mom's side of the family is from there. So in Oregon they have their shit together when it snows. They know what they're doing. They know. But in New York, there's one fucking flake of snow coming somewhere else. Oh! It's like the DEFCON 5 all of a sudden. I was like, no. Stop the world. It's like, and I find it funny. But then again, it's the same thing in Europe. You go to Southern Europe, and when it snows in Italy or Spain or somewhere, the whole country just freezes. Yeah, I find it funny.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because it's also, I used to bartend, so on days like this, you would think nobody would go out, but the entire town would come to the bar and drink. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just released SCREEM WRITERS GUILD on March 31st through Atomic Fire Records. Mm-hmm. That album is so much fun to listen to. So, and the album cover, first of all, I got to get into that. So you created the album cover.
Yeah, I do all the everything you see in Lordi is done by me. I mean, all the visuals, all the graphics, all the album cover paintings. I don't let anyone else touch my babies. That's my stuff too. I mean, I write most of the music too, but I also design the costumes and make most of them, and also do the all the artwork. Yeah.
So when you were creating the artwork for SCREEM WRITERS GUILD, what was there a moment when you were in the midst of painting it that really stuck out to you? And were you listening to your album while you were doing it, or was it completely organic as well?
No, the process is as follows. I got a call in January 22 from our manager that okay, start writing a new album. I said sure, okay, and I already knew that we only have 6 months, time to actually write and record the whole album, which is no biggie. I mean, that's cool. I mean, deadline is the best news you could have. So I think it was the beginning of June when the album went to mastering, and that's when I had to start, making the album cover because that would needed to go to print in July, I guess. So and this where the paradox hit me that I had no time to actually do the new costumes and new masks before the beginning of 23. So I had to somehow come up with the concept of visually. That would be the album cover, even though I have no slightest idea how we would actually look like. Because usually by that time, when I'm painting a new album cover and doing the graphics, we have already, done the new costumes. We have had the photo sessions, and those are the pictures that I'm using, as a template where I'm going for. But now it was complete. This was 6 months, half a year before I could even have time to start even with the new costumes. So I didn't need need to listen to the to the new album, because that was, of course, it was still so clear in my mind, because we were just working on that for half a year. So I had the idea, but I want to make like an 80s horror movie poster feel, and have to combine the classic Universal monsters with the Lordi existing monsters somehow, to create something that would give the vibe and the feel of both 80s and the classic, 30s, 40s horror, thing is. And somehow, yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. It turned out in that way. But then, of course, I mean, I knew already at that moment that we're not going to be able to pull it off, like physically, like in reality, we cannot do these costumes that I drew on the album cover, except for a few, like Mana, our drummer, he is kind of like the Dracula that he's on the cover. His costume was, easier to do like that. And I had the, Frankenstein thing going on, not the same way, but kinda. And then Hela has some ingredients of what she has on the cover, like the Mila Nurmi vampire Elvira, thingy going on there. And as well, he's our bass player, has the creature from the Black Lagoon thingy going on. I mean, we made him more modern and more like T-Rex from Jurassic Park, actually, or like your average alligator or crocodile or whatever, But then Kone, our new guitar player, and of course I knew already then that I'm not gonna fuck the character up by making a hairy robot, because that is so stupid. So he's a werewolf in the album cover, but he's not a werewolf in reality. He's still like a robot, or what do you call it, cyborg or whatever. Yeah.
Did you use acrylics for this, or what did you, okay. Yeah.
My first paintings, when I was 8 years old, 9 years old. I did the first ones with oil painting, when I was a kid. I didn't like the medium. I did not like it, because I don't have patience to wait for the paint to dry. I don't have patience. I wanna be able to undo a little bit. And with acrylics, you can undo. With oil, you cannot. Whatever if your brush touches the canvas, that's there. It's there then, and you have to either paint it over, but you cannot undo it. So yeah, acrylics. I'm an acrylic guy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love working with acrylics too. It's nice that they dry quickly. So
yeah, you can do different layers, and you can use the water to just like tone something a little bit. But and usually I paint black and white. I paint everything black and white, and I color it afterwards.
Oh,
I
wow.
only use white and black. Always, I paint white and black first, and then I just color it with toning. Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting technique. That's cool.
Right, because then you get the whole contrast much better if you're not trying to get the color schemes just right when you're doing it.
Right.
Black and white first, the ultimate black and the ultimate white, and everything, in the gray, what is it called? The gray scale in between. And then when you're done with that, then you can just start, painting, coloring it.
Yeah.
And it's good with acrylics, even, and it gives you undo options.
Yeah, definitely. So going back to when you were 7, 8 years old and creating your first painting, what was that first painting that you created?
E.T.
Oh, how cool.
E.T. Yeah, the second one was Gizmo from the Gremlins.
Oh, wow.
The third and fourth one was Gene Simmons, and the fourth one was Kiss. And that's the end of my oil painting days, and then I switched to acrylics. Yeah.
Oh,
and they're still at my mom's house, and it's really fun. And yeah.
Oh.
They're not that bad actually for a little kid. I mean, they're pretty. I mean, yeah. I'm pretty proud of them. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Pretty good.
Was there an artist that inspired you to paint? Like, was there a painting that you saw, or was it just watching the ET movies that you were like, I need to paint this?
I've been drawing. I've been drawing since, I could probably before I could walk. I've always liked to draw. So that was my thing. I wanted to be a comic book artist when I was a little kid. I was drawing these little comic books of my own, when I was, I don't know, 4 or even, yeah. There were pictures that I was drawing when I was 3 years old. I know that, from the dates. But I think it was just something that there was like an art class or something, like after school art class that started in our elementary school, and my mom said that you should go there, and I'm like, sure, and that's how it. But I've always been fascinated, I always wanted to draw and paint something that I like, whether it's E.T. or Kiss or Gremlins or Star Wars or. Of course, you run into trouble with the art class in school, especially in elementary school, but even in college and stuff, you run into trouble because the teachers will tell you that what you need to draw or create.
Right.
And they give you a topic which you would not be interested in one fucking tiny bit. And I remember, when we had this like vase filled with flowers, and that's on the teacher's table, and everybody draws that or paints that with watercolor or something, and I would make it interesting for myself. I would do that, but then I would add these little R2D2s climbing on the vase, and then I would get what are these? So I make it interesting for myself, because why would I want to draw something that I'm not interested in? Like, why are you taking the fun out of this experience? Because it's the only thing that I enjoyed in school, and the school system was trying to kill my enthusiasm and my mojo about art at that time. But then again, I remember one of my art teachers then when I was a kid said that dude, you should really start drawing and trying to draw and paint something else than monsters, because you cannot be drawing your whole life like monsters. You soon you are not able to draw anything else as monsters, and what will be the end of that? Come on. Well, I'm here 40 years later, still drawing monsters and doing pretty well doing monsters and drawing monsters, so like, in your face, it's like, I'm like, I knew it already when I was like 10. I knew what I want to do. I knew what I want to be, and I'm still having grudge against the teachers then, and I'm not afraid to say that. They didn't know shit, If there's a little kid who knows what he wants to do or she wants to do, let the kid do it.
Right.
Don't try to kill the passion that a little child has. Because if a child is into something, let him or her have it, and don't try to kill it, and don't try to put it with the rest of the group.
Right. Yeah. Just let the creativity flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you released a new music video from SCREEM WRITERS GUILD called Dead Again Jane, and the story of it is pretty cool because it's about Jane Mansfield, who, is kind of like the more pornographic Marilyn Monroe, I guess you could say. And it's such a cool video because it has like that old Hollywood horror movie vibe to it. So what would you say is like the part, like after you watched the video for the first time completed, what was the moment within the video that you were like, okay, this is so cool, I'm a fan of my own work type thing?
The whole video really, because I wrote it and I directed it and I edited that, so I was working on that for few weeks, so I was watching it the whole time. But especially the shot where Jane is sitting there without her head, on the table, and because I'm a film school graduate myself. I graduated from film school in the mid '90s, and we got the record deal in 2002. And after that, I haven't been really in the business for 20 years. I haven't really been. I mean, I've been involved with every single music video of Lordi, but I haven't been doing since our previous video. Borderline from our previous release, Lordiversity, was directed and written by me. But before that, I really hadn't been working on the music videos for 20 years. So I'm an old school guy, and that one shot where she's there, on the table, and we had a little bit of younger, film crew there, and I was telling them, we're going to do this old school. This is how we're going to do it, and they're like, oh no. I was like, listen to me. This is how we do it. This is how I would have done it in the 80s or 90s. This is how we're going to do it, and I'm so proud because I was tempting that there was some skepticism in the air at the shoot that is this gonna work, but I think that shot is beautiful, with her without the head and head on the table, and they were not really that familiar with this kind of trick photography that is very old school way of doing that, so that shot is my favorite because I like gore and I like people without heads, and I like that, and yeah, it turned out pretty good, and I'm also really proud of the other side of the video, not the 1930s, the movie, the dedication movie, but also the 1980s cable TV horror show, because it really looks like that. I'm so proud of that it looks like an cheap 80s late night cable TV horror show. They don't really have that much money at the station, but they're doing their best, and so yeah. And I mean, it turned out great. But then again, you'd have to ask me that again in 5 years and ask me, do I think it's great? Yeah, I mean, still, in 5 years. Because usually, like with our every record or whatever we do, at the moment I'm doing it, and at the moment it's done, I am so happy with everything that I couldn't be more proud. I'm I'm bursting with cockiness and that I'm like, look what I can do, kind of like that. But then give it a few years, and then I can get some distance to the actual stuff that I've done. I'm like, oh, that should have been done differently. Oh, But that's how it goes. But every, like, for example, when I'm writing every single song that I'm writing any given time, at the moment when I'm writing it, I'm honestly hand on my heart thinking that I'm writing the best song that I've ever written at that moment. And that's the way I think everybody should feel like when they're writing it, that you are creating the best thing that has ever been done in the history of mankind. Now, of course, the time will show you whether it's a few hours or a few weeks or a few years that where you write. Usually you're not right. Usually you will see after a few weeks or a few days that, okay, it's not the best thing ever. But at least, I mean, you tried your best that moment. But that's how I feel about whether it's a music video, whether it's the costumes or the songs. I'm having like unlimited belief in my own skills all the time. And I just like and that's my driving force. That's my thriving force. All the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good philosophy to have.
Well, it works for me, of course. I mean, I know that it for some people, when I'm saying so proud that I know my shit, I know what I can do. I think I know what I can do. Let me put it this way. So I know for some people in this day and age, it sounds really cocky and arrogant, and like that I'm full of myself. Fuck yeah, I'm full of myself. I know I am the best Lordi that there could ever be. I know I nobody else can write better Lordi songs than I can. Nobody else can create better Lordi anything than I can. That's the thing. So why shouldn't I be proud of that? I mean, I couldn't give a good advice if my life depended on it. If it was some other band or some other thing, but I know my shit when it comes to Lordi. I know how to do this. So that's how I feel about it. And everybody, whatever they're doing, they should be damn proud of what they're doing, because nobody can be better at what you're doing than yourself. If you're doing your original thing, of course.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And you also released a song, or as a single, Lucifer Prime Evil, and those lyrics they're cool. So like, what was the inspiration? Because it's, we all have this vision of Lucifer being, male, but you spelled it like Lucifer.
Once again, well, of course. I mean, it's one of those, play on words that I love. Lucy. For some reason, I had this infantile, affection to this play on words all the time. Also in Finnish, and in English, I like that. It's the story is just Lordi version of all these movies like Children of the Corn or Omen or Poltergeist with a little kid that is like somehow satanic, and it's like I just decided to wrap it all together. So, so I don't know if I answered your question even, but yeah.
Yeah.
I already forgot what you asked, but.
Yeah, I was just you actually kind of answered it before I even asked. I was just going to ask, like, what was that inspiration, or what was the main story behind it? So it's cool to know that it's, of course, more horror inspired, which brings me to another question. Like, when you first got into horror, like, what was that first movie that you remember seeing, and what was that moment within that film that just had you captivated?
Well, the first horror thing was not from the movies. It was this horror comic books that I found at my grandparents' attic that were left by my older cousin there. And I saw these cool black and white comic books. I don't know. I'm sure they're actually originally American, comic books, but in Finland it was called different. I don't know what is the actual. The original name of the publication, but I saw these cool horror stories, very gore actually, and very well written, very well drawn, and that was the first thing. I was like, whoa, this is cool. But I do remember the first horror movie that I saw, and it was like New Year's Eve. I must have been 4 years old, and it was playing on TV on New Year's Eve, and it was King Kong, the original King Kong. And I was like, whoa! Even though King Kong isn't necessarily horror per se, but it kind of is, So that was like life-changing experience for me. That was like, yeah. And not too long after that, I think I saw Dracula, or one of those like Dracula movies, same way from TV. That they were playing it quite early in the evening for some reason. I mean, they thought that it's not scary for anyone. I mean, those old classics, So
right.
Those are my first, memories from that. But it didn't take long after that when, VHS came to market, and I started already, getting this, The Shining and, Alien and, and then, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street came and all these films, and yeah, and then I was one of those teens, in the 80s who were collecting VHS copies, of everything you could get your hands on, every single horror film you could get your hands on. And that's when I also started, actually a little bit before that, I already got into the whole makeup thing. I wanted to, this was actually when I was 7, and I remember I was always drawing monsters, so I thought, how could I make myself look like a monster? Since I can draw a monster face on a piece of paper, what if I will take my mom's eyeliner and draw a monster face on my face? Will it make me look like a monster? And it did, and the revelation of that, whoa, dude, I look so fucking cool. And that was how I started doing the makeup, you know. Yep.
Oh wow, that is cool. It's so cool that you found that.
So by the time I went to second grade, I already was very heavily into makeup and horror.
Were you also into heavy metal back then too? I know you mentioned Kiss. Were there other bands too?
Well, Kiss was my first band that I heard, and it's like the horror came first, and comic books came first for me, and then it was 1982, and I moved to another city with my parents, obviously, and then there was I was a new guy in class, and then there was this guy in my classmate who said, "Hey, you want to go to music library and listen to some Kiss?" And I'm like, sure. I had no idea what is Kiss. I don't know if it's a musical style or what is it. But I was sure, because I didn't want to, look like I wouldn't know. So we just went there. We went to sit down. We put the headphones on, and the librarian put the vinyl on, and it was Creatures of the Night, and my mind exploded. Like, what is it? It was something that I've never heard before. Like, whoa! And that's why we are doing the interview right now.
You gotta love how everything aligns. Yeah. So
that was in 1982. So yeah, but I heard that.
Yeah, that's so cool. And but also on the album, you have it's more of a ballad type song called "The Bride," and it's probably one of the most ballady Lordi songs I've ever heard. So what inspired you to want to do something that's very different? And what was the story behind the song as well?
First of all, the style of the song was something that I wanted to do, which was kind of left over from my previous release, which was the Lordiversity's 7-album box set that we had. We released 7 albums at once in 2021, I guess. Yeah. And so I wanted to do 10 albums, but the record label said that you can only do 7. So there were 3 albums, left out, and one of them was a country album that I wanted to do.
Oh wow!
So that kind of like stuck in my head that I want to do a country song. Kind of like a country song, kinda. So, and I want to, it's been 20 years now since the first album, so it's like, I guess it's about time for people to hear my clean voice also. And so I wanted to sing it with my clean voice. I mean, there are bits and pieces on pretty much every Lordi album that I'm singing some piece of a verse with my clean voice, without any growling or anything like that. But not to this extent, that we would line by line, we would try really hard that I would not let the Lordi out, they're growling out. So those were and the third thing about the song musically was something that I did not want to have distorted guitars on that. Let's try to do a Lordi song without any distorted, electric guitars. And of course, in the solo, there's a little distortion, of course, obviously, but not like your typical, rock guitars out there. And that was the musical start point of that. I wanted to write a nice ballad and just for the fucking heck of it, just to sing it, with the clean voice. And they tried to make very, very soft sounding song. As far as the lyrical content goes, it's a Frankenstein monster. What I would imagine that what he would feel like when he gets the bride, when he gets his mate, built up for him. I mean, of course, in the original story and in the movies, the bride doesn't last that long. She's not there that long to enjoy for. poor Frankenstein. But anyway, you know, that's I think there's this undertone that he's very happy, but you know, to have a companion, but then at the same time he knows he's the shit. He knows he's the man in the house in a way, you know. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. And you also, another song that is like, it has deep meaning for you. It's the last song on the album, last track, called End Credits. And it is a song that you wrote for your own funeral, your upcoming funeral, whenever that's going to be. So that's interesting. What inspired you to, first of all, want to do that?
Well, there's there's few reasons. I mean, there's well, first of all, you kind of have to try to come up with some ideas that you haven't done before. that's well, like I said, 19th album already, you know, so there's quite a lot of songs that we've done about monsters and hard rock and anal fucking, you know, so there's quite a lot of that shit going around. So you kind of have to have something, you know, and since the album theme was already clear that it's like a loosely, you know, cinematic or movie theme, so I thought that okay, the end credits would be a nice way to end it. We kind of have to have end credits, and there's the saying that when you die, your whole life flashes before your eyes like a film strip. So I was just thinking that how would that film strip look like for me if I would die right now? That how would it be? And coincidentally, at the time of the writing of the song, it had only been a few months prior to that when we released our autobiography book of the band as told by me, and of course, you know, my life story, you know, so far, the site called Lordi. It's an 800-page book, so there's a lot of you know a lot of memoirs there, you know, between those pages. So all those, you know, childhood memories and everything were very clear in my head, you know, at that time. So I thought that why not? Let's try to put this into a song, into a lyrical content, you know, leaving out actually the Lordi stuff there, but just you know, just like, what if I would die now? What would be my film strip? What would be the final film strip that would flash before my eyes? That was the starting point for the song, and I thought that hey, it's a cool idea to have, you know, to write a song for your own funeral, and
Yeah.
And I mean, Elton John did it on his debut album, I think, you know, so it's nothing that hasn't done before. It's nothing that unique. And but it was funny when I played that to, you know, some of my friends and even the crew members, and they were like, oh, are you dying? You know, is your smoking finally caught up to you? Are you having cancer and now you're going to die? Is this your final farewell and your final fucking testament? And it's like, no. What the hell? It's just a song. It's just like, but it makes me giggle when it brings a reaction like that to people, you know, because it's a song, and if you want to write a song for your own funeral, you kind of have to do it while you're still alive, because it's a little bit too late if you die first, and then you really cannot do that, you know. And I'm a control freak in some way, so I would like to even have something to say about my own funeral, what they will play. And I've been saying this, that if they don't play this song at my funeral, I will come and haunt every single one of them who were responsible for not playing the song. And I would not be a ghost like Casper. I would be more like, I would be like Pinhead. I would be like, I would be a ghost that, you know, from Conjuring movies. Not a nice friendly ghost. No. You know, yeah. So yeah, that's the end of that. Yeah.
Wow, like all I'm envisioning right now is the Lordi horror, like slasher flick style movies right now.
I that is something that I would, you know, want to do. You know, it's something that even has been in the talks, like half a decade ago or something. The problem is I would really like to do another movie. I mean, we've kind of done two, but it's something that it takes so much time, at least year and a half, to actually do a motion picture, like full movie, like real movie. So it takes so much time that I would need to put the band on the break like year and a half, and I am not willing to do that. So, but before they are playing that song at my funeral, I am trying my hardest to do my own movie, which would be a slasher Lordi horror flick. Yeah, absolutely.
That's so interesting. It's so unique because, I mean, funerals have such a doom and gloom perspective sometimes. So this is a way to kind of to lighten the mood of it and be like it's more of a celebration type thing.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, obviously, I made the melody of the song. Of course, I tried to make it very, very sad and very, very church-like. Very, very like fire. Because of course, you kind of have to try to evoke emotions in that. So it is deliberately as sad as I could write it and as funeral-y as I could possibly do it, and like that. But it makes me giggle, like when I'm seeing people having like very sad reactions, like oh no, it's just a song, it's just a song.
Yeah,
until it is, until I die, and then it is like, oh my God, it is, and then it has a completely different meaning all of a sudden. that's the fun part of it. Because then it becomes really sad. Then it becomes sad.
Yeah.
That makes me giggle.
But it also like you live on like forever and ever with that. That's the beauty of music is that it doesn't matter if you die. You're cemented. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
It's so cool.
But it's like it's not the first time that I put something like this on a Lordi record. Like when my father died, when was it? 2015, 2016. In Finland we had this thing that when somebody has died, then they announce it in the church, in the next Sunday service or whatever, and then they will play the church bells for that person who have died, So me and my mom, of course, obviously, because it is tradition here, you go and listen to the church bells of your loved one, who has died. You listen to those bells, So yeah. I recorded those bells, and I put them on the album. I think they are on the end of what album is that, by the way? I think they're in the end of Sexorcism album. It's my father's, church bells.
Oh wow!
In the end of that, and our then producer of the album, he says, "Isn't that a little bit too macabre? Like macabre to put it?" It's like, no. Like, why not? Well, what is there? I mean, it's church bells, and it's like at least now, even long after I'm gone, that music will be in some form, in some fucking digital reality somewhere there. So my father's church bells from 2015, they will live on forever. They will be there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, because for most of my childhood, I got so used to being at funerals. I'm an only child, and my parents were quite old at their age at the time in the 70s when they got me. They were like 36 and 37 years old, and at that time they were like way past their prime, for having a first child, and actually only child. So, and they were also the last ones of their siblings. They were the youngest ones. So I spent my whole childhood without having any cousins of my own, really like my own age, and most of the times you would, go to a family gatherings would be a funeral. because your relatives are dying because they're so much older than you. So I mean, the aunts and the uncles, and they just kept dying, like yearly. So I don't think, my first wedding I went to was probably when I was like way over 20 years old, or baptism or something like that. But I've been to a lot of funerals. So death has always been. It's never been that like. I mean, of course, it's sad, but it hasn't been something that would be unfamiliar to me or scary in that way, or So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings me to another question. Is there another Lordi song that you feel would be suitable to play at your funeral as well, along with end credits throughout your entire discography?
I think I need to write that one. I don't think any of them that are now there would do. Nah. I would rather hear God of Thunder by Kiss.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite song, and that's my favorite song of all times by any artist. So yeah, I think if there would be another Lordi song, that song is yet to be written. So I think I need to get working on that. At the moment, I would rather hear Kiss and Twisted Sister and Alice Cooper being played. Yeah.
Alice Cooper is awesome. What were those Alice Cooper songs or videos that you feel really influenced Lordi?
Oh, Alice. Absolutely. I mean, you mean what songs or videos? What?
Yeah, what songs or videos, like music videos from Alice Cooper?
Well, with Alice, I mean, the albums are actually Hey Stupid and Trash, Constrictor, those albums. And I would say the most effective video for me is He's Back, the Man Behind the Mask from Constrictor, the Friday the 13th part 6, I guess, the soundtrack for that. I think that would definitely be my favorite Alice Cooper video, for sure, with Jason and everything, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
But then again, I mean, I was The Nightmare Returns, that live from, I think it's 86 actually, that one too. I was watching that all the time because I love it. I still love that show with the guillotine and everything. I mean, it's a great show. And yeah, Alice, huge influence on me. I mean, duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's such a nice guy. He's such a nice guy. And a little unknown fact is that whenever Alice comes to Finland, and if he has Welcome to My Nightmare on the set, he needs the snake. So that's when I show up with my snake, and my snake, who happens to be called Alice Cooper.
Oh my
God. So she will be on stage with Alice Cooper, and she's another performing artist of the house, my boa constrictor, who's been on stage with Alice Cooper on Finnish shows,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I bet that's an experience. His shows are amazing. I saw him last year, and for the very first time, it just is such a, like one of the best shows ever.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, even though I'm a huge Kiss fan, I mean, I've seen Kiss like 100 times and shit, and I love Twisted Sister, and I love, but the very best show, like single show that I've ever seen was Alice Cooper on Hey Stupid tour. That show was amazing. That show was like something that it only lives in my memories because for some reason from that tour there's not that much video footage, for some reason, I don't know why, because there's a lot of video footage from the tours after that and the tours before that, but not from that tour when the show was actually top notch. It was like really insanely great, that Hey Stupid tour. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, since we're talking about live music, I remember, so I saw you when you toured on Ozfest 2007. I was in Denver at the time, so that was, and you were on the main stage. So I have to ask, like, what were some of your most favorite experiences while on that tour? Because it had such a cool lineup. I mean, you also had Lamb of God, of course, Ozzy headlining, Black Label Society. You had even Behemoth, and it was jam packed. So, like, what were some of your most favorite moments from that tour?
My favorite moments are probably something that are quite weird, or because I whenever somebody says Ozfest, I remember this. Our then manager Bill O'Coin, who happened to be, of course, the legendary Kiss manager, in the 70s too, and he was our manager at the time. So most of the nights we would spend time in the backstage area, sitting on a bumper of a truck, with Bill, smoking Cuban cigars and listening to Ozzy play there as in the background, and that was so cool. And that is like the flash that I have in my mind whenever somebody says Ozfest. I'm sitting with Bill, having a nice cigar. Ozzy is playing in the background. And I have a really nice feeling, warm and dark and very, very cozy. But there are a lot of moments. I mean, it was a really nice tour. Really great memories from that, actually. Really, really, yeah, really, really great. And something funny on that tour when Zakk Wylde had his posse there, on the tour, obviously, and one of those guys was Andrew. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. The guy who played Leatherface in the remix, and he was such a cool guy, like huge and kind of scary, I have to say. But he was such a cool guy, and when he saw us doing the whole Leatherface, thing on stage, he was like, he was so, impressed, and he gave us so much like cool stuff as a gifts, and writing, he gave me an apron with a Leatherface apron, and he wrote to that Mr. Lordi kills emo dead, stuff like that, and cool shit like that. So there are a lot of fun memories from that tour, for sure. And one of those memories, by the way, is that I remember that Ozzy tumbled into our dressing room quite a few times. He mixed up with the door, and he would, I'm putting on my face, and then all of a sudden I see the door open behind me, and then I see somebody sitting on the sofa, and that's motherfucking Prince of Darkness. That's Ozzy, the big boss, sitting.
Wow.
And he's this isn't my room, is it? Like, no, but you can sit there. And then his bodyguards or assistants would go, hey, Ozzy, you need to come here. You're in the wrong room. Oh, can I sit here? Yes, please do. And then they're like, come on. And he tried to get away from his exercise. He had this what is it? What do you call it? The cycle, the bicycle thingy. I don't know the English word for that. The exercise bicycle. What the hell is it called? So he had that set up.
Wow.
What is it? Not the but anyway.
Yeah, I'm blanking on it too. I know they have spin classes, maybe a spin cycle or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So he had that, and I could see that there was a pattern that at that moment when he was supposed to do that, he accidentally, got mixed up with the doors and tried to hide that so he wouldn't have to do that. So fond memories, not funny memories. And I remember also Zakk Wylde telling us, I don't know, a few weeks on the tour or something, and there were the heat wave in Arizona and Texas was following the tour, and we had the hot fucking flaming pyros with us, and with the costumes, and the sun was torching directly to the stage, and the air was humid as fuck, and it was so hot there, and so then Zakk told us that they actually had a bet with the Ozzy band guys that will there be a day when we actually somebody would faint or something like that can we pull off a show because it was so hot and in those costumes, and I don't remember who won the bet, but we did not miss one show, but then at the same time our drummer had to have some extra oxygen between the songs because he fell from the drum stool between the songs when I was having a little speak between the songs because he was so exhausted of the heat and hangover actually, by the way. so Mike Boarding, who was Ozzy's drummer at the time, so he got the paramedics with the oxygen there behind the drums, and they were giving him some oxygen through the mask, and so he could continue and stuff like that. But I remember fun memories. Ozzy was always saying when we were going on stage, he was like, "Don't melt, guys, don't melt." That's what he was saying to us.
Oh wow, those are amazing memories. Thank you for sharing those. Like, as a fan of not only you, but all of it, the bands, like Ozzy, Zakk, everyone, like that's just, that is amazing to hear. That's so cool.
You like it?
Yeah.
Don't you like it? Don't you like it?
Yeah, let's see, what else can I ask? We've been chatting for quite a while now. So
yeah, actually I see the next one is calling. Next one is calling.
Okay. Well then, yeah, you've pretty much answered all of my questions anyway, so
cool.
Unless there's anything else you want to get out to the world about SCREEM WRITERS GUILD, by all means.
I just say that go and check it out. If you like it, thank you. If you don't like it, who asked you anyway? Fuck off. You don't have no good taste in music. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself. You don't know a good thing when it hits you in the face.
Yes, it's so much fun to listen to. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Lordi, for this amazing interview. So I hope you come to the United States and I can see you perform again live soon.
Yeah, there are plans, but I am not allowed to say more. But there are plans, and there have been plans already quite a few times through the COVID times. But
yeah,
since
Yep.
There were a few failed attempts already. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that for whenever that tour happens.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
I gotta go to the next one now. Jump on the next one. So, all right. So take care and thank you. It was definitely my pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful rest of the evening.
Same to you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Just bye.